I would lose. I don't think you're thinking anything different. I'm letting a little bit of time pass because I'm sure he's embarrassed today that people are talking about it. But then I'm razzing him in practice. I think that's the best way to getting over it. And maybe the first
I'd
shot
find
in
it so
practice,
sensitive. I don't think I could rub that in anybody's face.
Hey, you know what? Warm-ups, first shot in practice, I'm just doing high flippers from the red line. And just let all the blitz just laugh it off.
We got to work on it, obviously.
I think the unspoken is what makes it awkward. Hey, man, listen, we're good. Let's laugh it off. But it was a tough one. And I hate that, too. That's my boy from Cleveland, Alex Nedeljkovic, Browns fan. We share a lot in common.
Yeah. Well, you probably, you got to really know the personality, right?
Absolutely. So I know you're on the East Coast, and I'd love to get some thoughts on the Metro. I'm not sure where the Metro's at this year, so you got some Rangers ties there. What are your thoughts? New coach in New York, JT Miller is the captain. What are your thoughts on what the Rangers are going to be this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll certainly be better, but I feel like that's an easy answer because I think things were really not great last year. So it's going to take a minute. It's going to take a minute. It's Mike Sullivan is a details-oriented coach, and I feel like the way he coaches, we're not just looking for that new coach bump that we see maybe in the middle of a season. It's different. I almost find that I was thinking about this the other day because we have a few new coaches or new to their teams, and we always speak on the new coach bump in the middle of the season when a coach gets fired, and there always is this kind of initial springboard for a hockey club. And I feel like that happens because the guys are in season, their legs are there, the timing's there. Like, even if you're not playing well, at least you're feeling the game. I feel like the start of the season, there's no new coach bump. Mm-hmm. It's because you're trying to be, not only are you learning the new systems and everywhere you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to do on the ice, you're also trying to feel good. And me, I know as a player, it took me a couple weeks to really feel like I was in a groove coming out of training camp. So, I don't know. The Rangers are going to take a little bit of time. I'm still not convinced with their back end, the way it's built, but we'll see what they do with that. But as far as JT Miller, the captaincy there, I think that was the absolute right move. I'm excited to see some guys on that team bounce back this year because they have really good hockey players that had all collectively off years last year. And that's a recipe for no success.
Just speaking about JT Miller's captaincy, clearly you like it. I'm just wondering around JT Miller now, when you think about the Ranger room, if in fact that JT on occasion can get too emotional, is there anyone else in that room that can go up and help JT, or at least maybe settle him down, or is that guy not really there?
I'd have to assume that's Vinny Trocheck because of their relationship. And, those guys grew up playing youth hockey in Pittsburgh. Yep. And another Ohio boy, JT Miller, born East Palestine, Ohio, which is right outside Youngstown. And there wasn't a ton of hockey there, so he played in Pittsburgh with Vinny, and they're really tight. So I think Vinny Trocheck would be that guy that can... I don't know the whole dynamic of the relationship, but hey, bud, like you and me, look at me. Like now is not the time, or this time. I'm sure that those things are in check there. We've talked about it before. I feel like this is a team that needs a little bit of that. I'd much rather try to reel JT in than try to get reaction and get guys to step up in certain moments, whether it's emotionally or by gameplay. So, and Mike Sullivan's got a good grasp on him, having him at Four Nations and understands. I'm sure there's a lot of research done just from what happened last year as well. It's a great question. I think Vinny Trocheck would probably have to be that guy for me.
Yeah, what's the expression? Rather tame a tiger than paint stripes on a pussycat. I think that's something like that. That's better. So looking around some of the teams this year and expectations, there's a couple teams that I feel like got written off going into this year. Pittsburgh's going to stink. Mm-hmm. Boston's not even trying to win.
Pittsburgh's 2-0.
I know, Boston's good too.
Sullivan.
That's my question
to
Rupper.
Need Sullivan out of the room.
What are we dealing with here? These two teams, are they maybe not bad?
It's great starts. I'm never going to poo-poo that. I mean, you want to win hockey games. That's the goal every single night when you go out, and those teams are right now. I still think that the beginning of the seasons every year, they're fun storylines. I'm not saying these are fun. I'm saying individual storylines. Like Justin Brazeau. I mean, you got him 3 goals. He looks awesome with Gino. He might have an incredible season, but 20 games in, we start to learn things about players individually and teams, I feel like. So these are things like Evgeny Malkin looks awesome right now. He looks awesome every year at the start of the year because he's healthy. I think that's the biggest thing. He's fresh and his legs are going good. So I think between the two teams, the team actually I've been impressed with maybe a little bit more because I think Pittsburgh has that. They have the skill. They have more than one guy. It's probably Boston. I'm actually pretty impressed with Boston. I think Boston's been fantastic, but I really believe I saw Cam Neely come out the other day and said they're going to be a tough out. And for me, that's sometimes just feels like what you're supposed to say when you're the head of an organization, but they actually might be a tough out this year. I think they might surprise some teams because they're kind of scrappy group there. So I love the storylines. But I'm not going to say that either of those teams are going to be playoff teams because I still probably feel pretty strongly they're not going to be.
You're watching and listening to Stanley Cup champion Mike Rupp. Does a great job on NHL Network. Okay, Rupper, we've on occasion had a bit of a bold statement or comment on this show, but I rank yours right up there with this one on the Toronto Maple Leafs, where they lost 100 points. 24-minute man in Mitch Marner, yet you say that this is the best lineup they've had in a long time.
Yeah, yes.
Where do you go? Like, where are your first thoughts on that?
So, when I say that is with the goal in mind of winning a Stanley Cup, and not skill-wise. I mean, no, that's foolish. Are you saying? I am not saying that they are a more talented team now than they were before Mitch ends up going to Vegas. But that's where maybe there's differences in opinions on what wins and what doesn't win in this league with fans even. Because fans are going to sit there and go, well, I want a more skilled. We are a better team. Yeah, you might be a better team. We've seen that here. That's been the story. There's never been a lack of talent. And we see that for a bunch of different teams. I actually think this year those points are going to be missed. I think Mitch makes you a better team on a night-to-night basis in the regular season. It's nothing to do with Mitch. Cutting Mitch out. They've built a better bottom 6. This is a bottom 6 now that I feel that can make a difference in the postseason. I think the Florida Panthers are a perfect example of the way they approach things. We use whatever term you want, greasier, grittier. We've seen Toronto get gritty before, but these are actual players who've had some success. I feel in the playoffs, just having big moments. They've got those guys. I don't think it has to be the big guys. I think they have a team now that has specific roles. Maybe that's a better way of putting it. And the game is changing a lot. And a lot of times we have players nowadays miscast where you're playing a player, maybe the bottom 2 lines are the farm club for the top 2 lines. That's not going to win in the playoffs. You have to have the players that think the game a certain way, playing particular roles, being able to sit there and maybe play 11 minutes a night, but be effective in those 11 minutes. They have guys that can do that. So that's what I meant by that. This is a team come playoff time. I think that you're not going to have to look at the same guys all the time. And I think it's a very well-built, honestly, probably outside of Vegas for forward depth, I might like Toronto. They might be my second favorite forward depth team in the National Hockey League. And who knows, I might be dead wrong the way the season plays out. But I think Scotty Lawton getting more and more comfortable, having a full season. Nick Waugh, I think, is going to pan out really well. Dakota Joshua is an intriguing one to me. And you go on some of the bigger guys that they've had burst on the scene, maybe taking the next step. Matthew Knies, Bobby McMahon, I've loved. So, yeah, I think this team's going to be a much more difficult out in the postseason. They might not have as much regular season success as far as point total, but they're closer to a Stanley Cup right now, I believe.
You know, Rupper, these teams kind of take these steps in their rebuild to getting into playoffs with some consistency, and then the expectations change, right? For the Leafs, it's like, okay, how do we find that next level? Round 2 last year, how do you get farther? Watching some of these other teams, and I have in Montreal in mind right now, they've made this transition from the rebuild to a team that made the playoffs and kind of what's coming next. They play Detroit last night and win 5-1, a good showing there. There's rumors about Crosby this year, and people are like, what about Montreal? Maybe he'll go to Montreal. He loved them as a kid. I don't know. What are your thoughts on A, where the Canadians are at, and B, your boy Sidney Crosby, if he's going to go somewhere or not? Because that would be a match that Habs fans would love to hear.
That would be incredible. I'll start with the first thing. Montreal was so fun to watch. What a special year last year was, and how special Nick Suzuki was down the stretch. I mean, I don't know where you guys are at on him, but I mean, I think he's an elite centerman in this league now. And I thought he was a very good one before, but what he did last year down the stretch, almost willing that team in some regards. There's that 2 games. I think it was like March. It was something like March 30th and April 1st, both against the Florida Panthers, home and home. And he basically willed them the 2 wins in their comeback fashion in the third period. It was all Nick Suzuki, and I loved it. But I love Lane Hudson's season. I just think that last year had something special to it that's going to be very hard to replicate. Mm-hmm. And I think they have question marks as far as it's almost the same thing that we were talking about before. You can't just slap talent and say it's going to work. Like, now all of a sudden you're getting into a season where's Patrick Laine fit in to the scheme of winning on a night-to-night basis, or into the playoffs, or even Demidov, elite talent. I'm not sure how trustworthy defensive zone, which is fine if you're getting points, but you start looking at the lineup, I have some questions. I have some questions on the back end. I think this year, when expectations land, it changes a lot. Mm-hmm. And they were just fun to watch because it wasn't supposed to happen. Well, now everyone's crowning that it is supposed to happen. They've arrived in some regards. I'll be honest, boys, I think it's going to be a grind to make the playoffs for them this year. I don't know if they get in. I think if they do get in, it's because the Metro's a fairly weak division, and maybe that only pumps out 3 teams to go into the playoffs. They have a lot. It's all part of the growth for them, but I think they got to pump the brakes a little bit as far as some fans ready to say this team's there. I think you might get disappointed.
Rubber, we just spoke moments ago about a crazy goal in San Jose last night. We saw another bizarre goal in Edmonton's opening game with Coleman poking a loose puck through Skinner's pads. Is this just shaping up to be another year where everybody questions the Edmonton Oilers goaltending, and the only way this thing gets addressed is either one of 2 ways? You get another goalie to step in, or Skinner wins a Stanley Cup. But where is this conversation headed in your eyes?